In the tightly connected world of Australian corporate powerhouses, a small group of firms have come to dominate crucial economic sectors, from groceries to construction. Competition here goes far beyond price skirmishes. Indeed, the prospect of an open price war is a greater threat to these firms than fluctuations in market share. As a result, Australia's oligopolies, markets ruled by a few independent giants, rely predominantly on brand positioning, customer loyalty programs, and technological investments to grow and defend market share while avoiding destructive price battles. High market concentration is sustained not simply by scale, but by regulatory compliance, supply chain efficiencies, and strategic alignment across business functions. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, the ACCC as it's known, in its 2025 priorities, recognise the impact of these systems in shaping margins and competition nationally. The practical implications of oligopoly are felt in everyday life and business, not only in Australia but in markets around the world. Companies in these sectors utilise 4 interlocking elements in their strategy. First is market positioning. Ultimately, that represents the distinction between markets chosen by the organisation and the demands by the consumers, at least what's in their mind. Second is strategic assets, the patents, infrastructure, networks and so on that make up the organisation's primary resource set. Differentiating activities. These are the unique processes and customer offers that are different or better than, ideally, other competitors in the industry or market. And performance improvement activities. We refer to them as transforming activities. They represent efficiency drives, operational reform, and the development of the resource base. When aligned, these elements form a resilient system. We refer to it as a strategic architecture. With the use of a strategic architecture, you are able to produce strong and sometimes enduring competitive advantages by thinking about and identifying areas where points of differentiation and opportunity may lie, simply beyond the market position or just the reservoir space itself. Where alignment or innovation is lacking, the market can be unforgiving. Let's now look at supermarkets and their innovation and strategic alignment as a form of competitive advantage. Let's take grocery retailers Woolworths with 38% market share and Coles with 29% market share, a combined 67% of national market share in Australia. It represents a clear case of oligopoly and its impacts. Acutely aware of the impact and the presence or the existence of the oligopoly, the ACCC's March 2025 final report found limited incentive for the duopoly to pursue aggressive price competition, noting the tendency for each to follow the other in price and promotional activity, very much customer-focused. Non-price mechanisms, less customer-focused, therefore, have thus prevailed. Woolworths leverages loyalty programs, that is their everyday rewards program, good supplier relations and distinctive branding with its fresh food people banner to justify a premium on private label goods. Coles, on the other hand, counters Woolworths' fresh food people with flybys and cross-industry partnerships. These systems lock in customers and suppliers alike, supporting persistent margins. In recent years, leaders have sought to further integrate dynamic strategic levers that can be found in the strategic architecture. In 2019, after the Wesfarmers demerger, Coles CEO Stephen Kane sought to move away from the predominance of market-oriented incentives. In an attempt to shake up the stubborn era of operational inertia, instead, Kane shifted Coles' capital allocations towards the realisation of growth and efficiency in the resource strategic asset domain of the strategic architecture, telling a target for 60% of capex to focus on initiatives outside traditional store expansion. Kane set out to invest over $300 million in automating distribution centres, including sites in Queensland and New South Wales. This investment, Kane forecast, would not only deliver cost savings but underpin the company's pivot to e-commerce and logistical excellence. aligning an emerging customer demand for home delivery with a matching resource base. By late 2025, investor sentiment had improved. While Coles reported 4.6% sales growth for the October quarter, and market capitalisation neared Woolworths $31 billion as the performance improvements translated into stronger market position. In a broader, more strategic context, strategic alignment can build substantial barriers to oligopolies. Efforts like land making, a strategy where both giants acquired over 250 sites since 2019, made market entry and expansion especially challenging. But it did help protect the dominant market position that all stronger market participants, including Costco, Aldi and IGA, enjoyed. Their strengths were too much for new startups Milkrun and Volley. Both raised significant capital and attempted to disrupt the market with ultra-fast delivery, but lacked supply chain leverage and scale. Incumbents responded by rolling out competing services and leveraging networks, ultimately leading Milkrun to close in April 2023, followed by Volley in November. ACCC analysis highlighted the prohibitively high capital hurdles that entrant chains experienced, confirming that incumbent alignment remains a formidable competitive barrier. Two incumbents here are of particular interest: Boral and Wholesome. Here, Boral, Wholesome Australia, and a handful of peers control over 80% of cement and aggregates. Synchronised price increases and supply constraints during periods of housing growth reflect the inherent interdependence of these market leaders. Competition, as in supermarkets, has shifted towards resource-based differentiation. Boral's presence is sustained by proprietary quarry assets and a focus on low-carbon cement formulations, shielded by R&D patents, an approach intended to align with sustainability regulations and customer values. Meanwhile, Wholesome has developed engineering, logistics, and performance improvement systems to support large-scale infrastructure delivery. As with food retail, the practical effect is a durable and efficient market for incumbents, but a high entry threshold for smaller competitors. ACCC policy in 2025 has emphasised merger scrutiny and supply chain transparency as a means to enhance contestability, though the sector's asset intensity ensures the market remains concentrated. It's hard to say which is a better form of competitive advantage: inside-out, resource-based leveraging, or outside-in, market presence and domination. The point is, with the strategic architecture, you have choices. You understand 4 different areas where an organisation could compete. Perhaps it can compete in all 4 different segments. I'd suggest, in fact, that is the case. An example of organisation that experienced the demise because it only invested in market positioning is Carlton United Breweries, owners of the famous Foster's Lager beer brand. That brand rose to supremacy throughout the world, due in part to bold marketing and brand campaigns, most notably its Australian for Beer initiative in the 1980s. However, following its acquisition by SABMiller and later Asahi, Foster's lost ground dramatically amid a pivot towards global markets. Ad spend in excess of $100 million a year could not offset changes in tap contracts and shifting consumer perceptions, resulting in the discontinuation of the original lager in Australia, predominant market, by 2024. Industry analysis suggests branding alone confers only a comparative, not sustainable advantage unless supported by a strategic asset control, a lesson mirrored in other oligopoly cases. Let's look beyond pricing then, in terms of where we're headed and the policy outlook from the likes of government bodies and the government itself. In the past year, we've seen intensified focus on merger laws and consumer protection, with the ACCC and the Albanese government promising reforms to competition policy, transparency, and supplier protections. In this environment, alignment across market positioning, assets differentiation, and performance remains the key to lasting advantage. Good strategy for both incumbents and entrants is not simply about being big. Sustainable advantage depends on the interactive system, a lesson as relevant for Australia's giants as for the next wave of challenges and indeed those in an oligopoly anywhere in the world.
This video was produced by Dr. Paul Hunter. Paul is an author, researcher, consultant, and educator in the field of corporate strategy practice, organisational change and leadership.